Long before calendars, long before kings, the world knew no Christmas. Winter came each year not with celebration, but with a deep, primal fear, because, on the longest night, the world would fall silent. No wind, no sound, no stars. The sky would become a vast, empty blackness. People believed that darkness was empty. They were terribly wrong. In a forgotten village, nestled at the edge of the great northern forests, lived an old storyteller named Eldrum. He would gather the children and warn them of something ancient. Every 1,000 years, he said, when the stars disappeared, a spirit known as the Hollow Wanderer walked the earth. It searched for warmth, for voices, for life itself. It couldn't create warmth of its own, so it stole it from humans, freezing entire families as they slept in their beds. Most villagers dismissed these as just stories, spooky tales to scare children into behaving. But one winter, the silence returned. On the longest night, the villagers awoke to an unnerving stillness. They looked up to find every single star gone, swallowed by a blackness so deep it seemed to be breathing. Frost crept along their windows, not in delicate patterns, but in twisted, unnatural shapes that looked like grasping claws. The air grew cold and thin, and it tasted of metal. Fear, cold and sharp, settled over the village. Eldrum, his face grim, gathered everyone in the center of the village. He whispered instructions for a forgotten ritual. Light candles, he urged, his voice barely a rasp, not for warmth, but for witness. The wanderer fears the light, because it reminds the spirit of what it once was. No one truly understood what he meant, but in their terror, they obeyed. Every home flickered to life with small, defiant flames. As the candles burned, a low, guttural hum crawled across the village. The temperature plummeted until the very air seemed to crackle and splinter. And then they saw it. A tall figure, as thin and brittle as a dying tree, drifted between the houses. Its face was a hollow mask of glistening ice, and deep within its chest a single, tiny ember flickered faintly, the last remnant of its ancient warmth. The candles in the windows shook violently. Some sputtered and went out, and whenever a light was extinguished, a blood-curdling scream would echo through the silent night. The wanderer was feeding. Desperate, Eldrum shouted for everyone to gather in the main square. He lifted an old lantern. But inside, instead of a candle, were bright red berries from the sacred winter tree. These berries were said to hold the memory of warmth. As Eldrum held the lantern high, the ember in the wanderer's chest pulsed, glowing brighter. The creature stopped. It stared at Eldrum, and a tremor ran through its icy form, as if it was remembering something long lost, a soul, a home, a life. "Take this warmth freely," Eldrum said, his voice ringing with a strange authority. "But leave us ours." Something changed in the wanderer, slowly, painfully. It reached out and placed its translucent, icy hand over the lantern. In that instant, the berries inside burst into a brilliant, blinding light that flooded the entire village. The snow-covered ground glowed, and every falling snowflake shone like a tiny spark. The oppressive darkness recoiled as if struck. When the light finally faded, the wanderer was gone. In its place, a single glowing ember floated softly in the air. Eldrum called it the Star of Returning. From that day on, the villagers hung lanterns and red berries every winter. They believed their collective light would guide the ancient spirit back to a place of peace and keep the all-consuming darkness from ever returning to the world. Over generations, this solemn ritual transformed. It became a festival of lights, then a celebration of warmth and community, and finally, a yearly tradition of giving so that no lonely spirit would ever again hunger for the warmth of others. People eventually forgot the true story. They forgot about the Hollow Wanderer and the night the stars went silent, but the traditions remained. And so, the celebration of light in the darkest season of the year became what we now call Christmas. But some of the old stories are never truly lost. The elders in the quiet corners of the world still whisper the warning, If ever the sky goes silent again and the stars disappear, keep your candles burning because the wanderer remembers. Thanks for watching.